Hi Y3, so welcome back to our afternoon lesson. We are going to do another science lesson this week, and that's so for next week we can do RE and a bit of art towards the end of the term. So I hope that's okay. We have 2 science lessons this week. So we are continuing with our lessons with rocks. So we started this off last week, and I'm just going to quickly recap from our previous learning. So we looked at 3 different types of rock that are naturally made. So we looked at igneous, which are formed by magma or lava, so inside of volcanoes or outside of the volcano. We've got sedimentary, so formed under the sea as a result of millions of years worth of rock and bone buildup. So as you can see in the pictures, over the years, over the millions and millions of years, it's built up layers of rock, soil, bones, and eventually it becomes, we start to mine it and things like that, and we start to discover things in it. And I don't know if you can remember last week, but I also mentioned that this is how fossils are made, and that's what we're going to be eventually focusing on today. And then we got our last one, which is metamorphic. So metamorphic rocks are formed with the Earth's movement, and it's caused by when the rocks are buried and squeezed deeply. So this could be due to earthquakes or by volcano movement, which is then forcing the rocks to be squeezed together. And as you can see in the picture here, that is a form of metamorphic rock. So we've got igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic rocks. We also had a look at man-made rocks, so anthropic rocks, so rocks like concrete and brick, which are man-made as well. Okay, so remember these 3 are naturally made over millions and millions of years, and anthropic rocks are rocks that are made by us, man-made, and they will only take a certain process that needs to be done to make them. So, like I was saying, we're going to begin to understand the fossilization process. Fossilization. I don't know if you managed to say that at home. So we'll go into what that means in a minute. So I know that dinosaurs did not live at the same time as humans. Never mind, we'll put that later. I know how fossils are formed, and I know the difference between a bone and a fossil. So on to our first bit of learning. So if you listen carefully, you would have heard in our success criteria. Dinosaurs lived on Earth millions of years ago, millions and millions of years ago, okay, before humans even existed. So before humans were around, before we started roaming the Earth, there were dinosaurs, okay, and they lived way before us, long time before us, okay? We did not live at the same time, okay? So first of all, there were dinosaurs, and they ruled and they roamed the Earth for millions and millions of years. Then they all died out. Now, there's lots of theories about why they died out, and I'm sure you can have a look in your own time about how the dinosaurs died out. And afterwards, we eventually came around, humans, okay? So we've got the next bit here. So the Stone Age began roughly 8,700 BC. Now, Mr. Sturge's videos, he will be doing a bit of topic with you. I think you should have learned that already. So the Stone Age roughly happened 8,700 years before the birth of Christ, okay? Before BC means the birth of Christ, okay? So think about it. Dinosaurs lived millions and millions and millions of years ago, okay? Stone Age people were around about 8,000 years ago, okay? Our whole civilization started 8,000 years ago. So dinosaurs were here way before us. So Stone Age people and dinosaurs did not live at the same time, okay? They weren't around at the same time as us, and vice versa, okay? So that's one big thing that we want to just make sure that we clarify. Humans and dinosaurs did not live at the same time, despite what popular films might say. So let's go on to our learning. So it is believed that dinosaur fossils have been found for centuries. So century means hundreds of years. And these gave rise to some of the mythical creatures in ancient cultures. So think about dinosaurs and things like that. they all came about. The idea of dinosaurs came because of the fossils that people found. They found these fossils and they thought they were dragons and things like that. And actually, what they were finding was fossils of dinosaurs. However, without documented evidence, we cannot know this for sure. So, you know, we are almost, you know, we are nearly certain. However, there's about 1% fact that we're not quite sure about. And I don't think we'll ever completely concretely prove it. But I think because there's so much evidence now, I think it's probably a given. What we do know is that our current knowledge of dinosaurs and paleontologists, now a paleontologist is a doctor who studies dinosaurs, they study fossils, okay? Started in the 1800s. So we've really known about dinosaurs for the last 200 years. So we've only become aware of dinosaurs for the last 200 years. We've been finding their fossils for over 200 years. But of course we know now that dinosaurs lived millions and millions of years ago, and we're still finding fossils now. We know that we know about the dinosaurs due to the discovery of fossils and their fossilized skeletons. Remember, we did a bit of work on skeletons. Remember, skeletons are the things that keep us upright, give us support, give us movement, and give us protection, okay? So they found the skeletons of all these dinosaurs, and we're going to look into this word of fossilized, okay? So we've talked about this word earlier, fossilized. So, what is the difference between bones and fossils? So, big differences. Bones are tiny, are any tiny piece of hard white tissue. Now, not tissue as in like what you blow your nose with. That's like the scientific word for what makes up our bones in our skeleton, okay? So not only we have them, but animals as well have them as well. So fossils are more than just ancient bones, which is what many people think. There are 3 types of fossils: body fossils, trace fossils, and chemical fossils. So we're going to have a look at chemical fossils first. Now, you might think, oh, that's a bit of a weird picture. Now, we actually use fossils in our day-to-day life, okay? We call them fossil fuels, okay? And these fossil fuels are used for our lighting, for our electricity, for our heating. And we mine these fossils, these oils, for helping our day-to-day living. Now, the thing is, with fossil fuels or chemical fossils, is that they're quite bad for the environment. They're not bad, but they're quite bad for, you know, they cause pollution and things like that. So we're trying to not use as much chemical fossils or fossil fuels. We also have body fossils. Now, these are what you're probably more used to, okay? So these body fossils are basically, you know, fossils that are found, pieces of bones, pieces of like of outlines of the bones that animals have died. So you might see things like this. You might have seen pictures of like these prints of their bones, of their skeletons, teeth, things like that. And then we also have trace fossils as well. Now, this usually tends to be like things like footprints, like fossilized footprints that have been there for millions of years, and it's, you know, people have discovered them. Paleontologists have discovered them. So we know that that fossils can be of oils, of, you know, like oil or things that we mine, of bone, of the outline of animals' bodies, or it could be of footprints as well. And actually, some scientists as well have managed to find fossilized dinosaur poo as well, which is quite interesting. So that can also be a trace fossil as well. Very interesting there. So fossilization only takes place in sedimentary rocks, okay? Sedimentary rocks, that's the only type of rock that it happens in, okay? As the heat from the lava creates, that creates igneous rocks and changes the structure of metamorphic rocks would be too high for the fossil to survive. So basically, it can only happen in sedimentary, okay? So the years and years are built up, okay? Built up rock, soil, bones over millions of years. So this one, okay? Can't be igneous because it's too hot from the lava and the magma, and the metamorphic, the pressure from, from either like from volcanoes or earthquakes would destroy any fossils. So this is why the fossilization process only happens in sedimentary rocks. So we've got 5 steps of how this happens. Let me just move here. So step 1, an animal or creature dies on land or in the sea, and it gets covered by a layer of sediment. So sediment is just a scientific word for plant material, tiny parts of rocks or soil, okay? So as you can see, poor Mr. Dinosaur has died there. Here's a little ancient creature there. So he's died, poor little creature. And what's happened over time, rock and soil has built over it, okay? It's gone over it over and over time. And over time, through compaction and cementation, there we go. So that means basically over solid, these layers become solid and layers of rock. So the soil over time gets hardened, gets solidified, and that's how the process starts. Okay, so poor this dinosaur dies, layers of soil and animals, whatever that might have died, and over time it starts to harden. So on to the next bit. So this is step 2. Over time, more layers of rocks are formed which cover it, and by the time, the only thing to remain of the animal will be the hard parts, such as its bones, shell, and teeth. So over time, as this happens, only thing that's left over is the bones from the dinosaur or the creature that you had. Okay, so the only thing that's left that is remaining is the bones or teeth, because your teeth are quite hard as well in this little shell here. We also have step 3. So remember, there's 5 steps. We're on step 3. Over thousands of years, the mold fossil might become a cast of the fossil with sediment entering the mold. So as you can see, so what's happened is that the bone has it started to erode, but the rock has formed around it. So the original bone matter changes into a mineral matter. So basically a mineral is like a type of rock. But this does not affect the shape of the bones, which is why we can see some of the shapes of the fossils of the dinosaurs, okay? So what's happened is that the bones have slowly turned into like a bit like rock, okay? And this is how fossils begin to form. Step 4. Over a long time, the sea will recede. Recede means to go back, okay? So over time, the sea will go back in certain places. And the sea level could also change quickly through earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, okay? So over time, this could be due to earthquakes or volcano eruptions. The sea will start to move back, okay? And it might go into different places. Some sea levels might get higher and some sea levels might get lower. And this is over millions and millions and millions of years ago. It won't happen over in a year. It happens over millions and millions of years. So as you can see, the water's gone here. Okay, so you can see the little fossils still not been discovered yet. But let's see what's going to happen next. So step 5. And as erosion and weathering takes place. Now, erosion basically means like wear and tear, the weather, rain, things like that will eventually start to blow away, sort of get rid of the rock that's there. And eventually the fossil will be exposed. Now, sometimes as well, paleontologists, the people who research dinosaurs and fossils will also go to dig sites and also try to discover fossils as well. So it can be through erosion and weathering, so things over time just wearing down, or it could be somebody who's trying to discover more fossils, okay, a paleontologist. So let's have a quick recap. So what happens? Poor Mr. Dinosaur dies, okay, or this little shell dies, okay? And over time, soil starts to build up. Then what happens is that it solidifies, okay? It gets hard, okay? And then what is left is the bones, okay? The bones, the teeth, the shell. Then what happens, the fossils, the bones, sorry, over time, the rock starts to like mold around the bone, okay? Which then leaves us with this fossil. Then over millions of years, there might, depending on where the animal died, the sea level could change, or volcanic eruptions or earthquakes could happen, and then we are left with our fossil. And then this could be down to erosion or weathering or someone looking for fossils. That's when we can find fossils of extinct animals like dinosaurs. So that is a quick whistle-stop tour of fossilization. So your task, you do have 5 questions about fossilization that will be set on your Teams app. If you need any help, you can always go back to the start of this video and find certain bits that you want to find out, okay? When we do set this, hopefully you would have realized that there's a part 1. So this is the part 1 of the video, and now your quiz will be part 2. So please make sure that you complete that as well. So I hope you had fun listening about how fossilization happens, and we will see you on Monday at 8:30. Bye now.